Cuties, what's up? We are back with some more of the daily node, and of course we are going to be doing a hammer today. Let me just go save this as a new thing. Hammer. There we go. So this is going to be probably pretty difficult. I'd argue. You might think of a hammer and be like, oh, there's no way that's hard. If you're just straight up sculpting, right? Well then yeah, it would take you like 2 seconds because you can just do whatever. But obviously these things I'm trying to make are like decently optimized, meaning they don't have 100 million polygons. If I wanted to make a hammer that's made of like a billion polygons, then it would take a second to make that, right? But if we're not trying to do that and we're trying to make something actually optimized, then it's going to take me much longer to do that. I think we have to start with making a custom shape for this hammer head as well. Just a sort of like a custom side. Also, obviously, I'm doing something new with the mic. I'd started doing it with the Pokemon Champion streams that I was doing, where I have reverb on the mic. You know how you would have it if you were doing singing or something like that. But I just figured I would do that. I want to do something unique with the mic, so might as well do that. And I haven't heard any complaints yet, so I'll be sticking with it for the time being. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to spin this on the rotated on the Y 90. Oops. Okay, it's messed up. Rotate Y 90. I'm going to be looking at it from this side. I do have a picture pulled up on the side for a hammer because obviously this is too intricate to not have a reference. Just going to pull this up. I guess I could use this. I was just going to do it from a point, which I still might. Yeah, let's just go from a point. So now we just have this point here. I'm going to just pull this to there. Then we need this to go down. Then here. There. Also, obviously extruding to do this. Undo that. This point here should be pretty close to this point. They shouldn't be too far away from each other like that. And then that needs to go down, and then this needs to come there, and that's basically as far as that needs to go. So then from here, you would have this coming down there, and you just gotta figure out how to make this not look like trash. So, like that. These need to be merged at the center to close the object off. So there's something about there is fine. Then we need to subdivide this. I'm going to pull this down and get the bevel. Now it's not going to bevel because it's not a face, but then you need to press V for vertice, and then you can bevel on the vertice. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added to that. So let me do the same thing with both of these sides. So subdivide you, pull you up a little bit, and then we'll bevel that. Well, let's maybe just pull the other one so I can have both of them already activated. So that's, and we'll go ahead and bevel, and then once you're beveling, press V to switch to vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5. And the same thing here. Press V. And then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should be going. I mean, I think that one of the issue here is that I made this not straight like that. It should have been straight like that from the get-go, so I could see these in tandem. So I think if this was like this point wouldn't be aligned with this. I'm going to take this here, proportional editing, and just pull this slightly out of line up with that. Take this and I'm going to subdivide to get the point in the middle. And I'm assuming like this is technically, oh, don't do that. Let me actually remove this dissolve with just the vertice. This would technically be down here. This I think just moved up a bit like that. So this point here would be pretty close to that, but not completely. So maybe like that, then maybe take this point and just pull up with proportional. And then we'll take the now subdivide you, then pull this up. I'll turn that off. Pull this up. And then maybe over here. We'll have to see once we start beveling what we need to do. So I'm just going to activate that. Press V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So is that okay of a shape? I think I didn't need to move it. I think it needs to be in between them equally. Then bevel, press V to switch the vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we can subdivide you and pull you like around here perhaps. Then bevel, V. I didn't see how many I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, is that a 1? Yeah, that's 1. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The only problem is that this is there, right? So we try to center this between the two again, like maybe about there. Bevel, then plus the V. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So about there, and then that's the side shape for this. I don't know if this should be higher here though. I mean, we could proportional on and then pull this up. It's moving the other side, but that's fine. Maybe if I do that and then no, like maybe this is fine. Just want to see what happens if I scale it down to Z. I think it's actually pretty big. It shouldn't be that big. It should be small like this. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to stitch this down because I don't want to have it be messed up. I can't see the vertices anymore. If I turn a wireframe on, can I still see them if I switch? No. It's unfortunate because now I just have to guess. So yeah, that's not really great. It is getting the job done though. So that goes all the way there like that, just slowly. You can still actually keep going. Though it is already getting out of sorts, I think. I don't think this is like equaled correctly. Because this and this should be touching, then this and that one, that one, and that one, that one to that one, that one. But you here, you here, you here, you here, you here, and then you to here. And we have an extra dot here. So if I dissolve this vertex and like, whoops, pull this forward. I actually need to move dissolve 2, right? Because that's that. But this needs to connect to that. And there's still a gap here. So actually, so dissolve that. I messed it up. So like kill the face here. Dissolve the face. Why can't I just get only faces? Like leave everything else. Only edge there. So yeah, like this is supposed to connect to you, right? Which means we need to dissolve this vertex and then move this by hand. Which will make this more uglier, right? Because now this isn't perfectly beveled. I guess we could come back and do this again. Let's just see though. So you're to there, then there, then there, then there, then there, and then there, and then that would connect to there. So yeah, we can do that and then just push that down. And then we just have to fix this. Oh, that's annoying that that's like sticking out like that. Let's just undo that. And then grab these. Fill that in. Then we will take the knife tool with K and cut into this. I guess I could just grid fill this actually. Let's see what that looks like. Like, what if I do... You're supposed to go here, right? So I fill this in, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Subdivide by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then select just that, and then UV, or what is it? It shouldn't be face, and then grid fill. Okay, so it doesn't really like that. Okay, there we go. 7 was pretty good. I'm seeing what would be good. Simple blending. Simple blending gets the job done. It's not exactly what I want to see though. Like this is pretty good, but why is there an extra dot here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these get... Why does it move like that? That doesn't make any sense. I'll leave it like that, but then I need to make some modifications of my own, I think. No, like this needs to be over here. Like all this stuff needs to be over 1. I don't know why it chose to be like that. And then you would cut into this. Like that. Then you over here as well. Actually, no. My bad. Not that one. into here, and then keep pressing the wrong button. Cut to here, and to there, to there, and to there. Then take these and dissolve that edge. I don't know why you didn't want a grid fill like this. I'm guessing because I didn't want the triangles on the corners here, but like, who cares, right? I'm going to sculpt and just like do this from the side and just hold shift here to smooth this out. Yeah, I just really didn't want any triangles, but I don't really care if we have triangles. You know, like right there and right here. Then we can take this and fill that in, and then you could go ahead and do this. Kind of need this to not be so thick, right? Because now we barely have any room here. Which is what I actually should do is not that, right? I probably should have just filled this all in from the get-go. What I could do is just, you know, not care about this right now, and then dissolve these until it's a flat line, right? And then we could actually do anything. Also, I see that this is not perfect either. Right, that got messed up. This shouldn't be like that. Neither should that either, but what can you do, right? It's 17 minutes. I was like, I'm making too many mistakes here. So that's fine. I am going to delete this and then just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extrude that down 5 times, and then that gets us the same thing, and then we should be able to do that 5 times. So I think what we want is to dissolve that. Take this, pull it down a little bit. Like that. Then do that, and then scale. And then bevel that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. It doesn't really matter though. And do that, and then we just get our 5 in there. And then for this, I'm just going to go to sculpt and try to push that in like that. Can maybe even just a little bit more here and a little bit more there. Maybe that needs to be buffed out a bit. I can smooth that. I need to smooth this too from earlier. This maybe needs to be moved over here. Smooth on that. Yeah, this still should be short. Okay, after like 5 hours, we got this middle shape down. Do I want to pull this? Okay, so we have that. Is it bent weird? No, it's not. If it was, you can just do, like, go into edit, select everything, right? And then scale on the Y 0. And that would makes everything flat. On the Z, oh, wrong angle, sorry. Scale on the X 0, my bad. Now all of this is flat this way. So then what we're going to do is take this and move it this way. It actually depends on which way it's facing. I'm going to solidify that. Okay, it's the other way. So solidify that. I kind of don't want to do that. I don't think I want to solidify. I think I want to mirror on the... Why is that over here? If it's on the X, it should be the other way around. It's weird that it's over there. Oh, I know why, because of that. Let me get the X to 0 and then go to edit and then select everything and then do that. So it's pushed the other way. So now we need to figure out how big this is going to be. I think that's acceptable. So then I'm going to take this and this and extrude this way. I need clipping on. That clips together. Then I guess take that and... Okay, so the issue with this is it will not fill like this. So undo that. Apply this. Then go to edit. Select this. Fill that. Get the flats. And then just F. Just hold F all the way around. And now, object is like kind of getting away. I'm going to take everything and scale on the X just to make that slightly bigger. We're going to have to keep this part open. So this is where the top of that goes. Then this whole part has to flow into the hammer, so you probably want to get rid of this, and then we'll be putting that into the hammer. Also the bottom as well here, and the shape is just so problematic. Honestly. Do I want to try to get the ball going? I need to know how many faces I have to deal with. Because if I take that and that, I don't know. I keep getting messages. Let me get my phone out of here. Too loud. If I take that, and yeah, I don't know if I want to stitch another object into this or what. Because that's what I would maybe try to do. A stitching there, but I don't know if that's the right choice. And of course we need to cut that in half. And possibly take this with proportional on. question mark and like pull that back, it is gonna mess that up though. And maybe I didn't want to do this yet. I'll take this and bevel to about there. Yeah, to about there. Take that. How many is that? 4? So to there? Because this is like weirdly made. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like even correctly. Can cut into you and you. I need to take this and this and this and that. Possibly scale that on the X, but problem is it's going to not work. Median points, because that's going to start bending the outsides. I could stop that from happening by hiding those vertices, but I think this is a do it by hand kind of situation. So scale that on the X. And scale X. But we shouldn't be doing them at the same time, right? Because I think they have different paths that they want to take to get to where they're going. This is kind of okay though? Question mark? We can take that and then try to pull it back and try to just keep it aligned with the curve that we have going. Same thing with that one. I'm just going to do that. The wrong button. Just gonna fill those in. Fortunately, we need to cut into this with these, right? Because it needs to go all the way around. And I kind of just end up doing things out of order, honestly. Let's fill that in. Fill that in. And I think we need to cut this in half again. And mirror it. What do I mean by that? Guess we're gonna have that like that. I'm gonna turn it off though so I can just focus on this. So I'm right clicking, by the way, to let go of the cut. I don't think it's really showing you that. Also, I didn't realize this was finished. I had more leeway than I thought I had. Thought I didn't have as much room here. This ends up making this very messy. I really should just go back and cut it from the get-go again. Why is that one so high? Yeah, it's gonna end up doing that. Just do these. What happens when I sit smooth? That's gonna get out of whack, right? Okay, so we have that now. This might actually be too long now that I'm looking at it. I'll have to finish the hammer and then we'll see if that's too long or not. Okay, now the thing is, do I want to try to figure out how to get this to work? So this has to... I think we need to start a second piece so I know where to aim for. Because that's holding me back, I think, not knowing what to do up front here. This should maybe be like as big as that, so maybe like around there. We'll go ahead and take you and pull you back. And extrude this about that much. Because this already has this part here, so I'm just gonna pull that up and then scale it down. And then like that. And then for this, like this goes to there. But it's like the entire thing, right? So it's like this whole part here. It's connected to that, and this has to be connected to that down there. And then like this is cut here, and then you just do that and bevel out of there. Granted, that's like too long, right? This hammer is like not proportioned, right? But it would be something like that. So you only want like about that much room in between this point and there. Maybe I should have just created half of this, right? Like half of that. Like, you know, this should have just stopped here. And then I could plug this into that and just fix it how I needed to. I think I might do that. You know, come into here. Maybe just cut. Oops. Just cut from here. I would like to make it down to that. That just ends up going there. Undo that. Maybe it's like from here. No. I might have to just do this naturally. So I'm just gonna like delete that. You'll have an easier time if I don't start like that. That's there, but this ends up being like 2 pieces when it's like that. Look, I have to figure out so much here, it's like not worth even trying to keep this video, and I had to like just figure it off camera. So this is gonna be a triangle here, and then you just fill this in to there, and then if that's where that goes, then we can kill this vertex here, if that's how that works. Then just pull that down. You know, like that, and then we can figure out how to combine these together. So let's just see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6, 7 on the sides. And then with this, it cuts like that. That's weird. Then we come back over here and edit this. I don't know if I want this here. Like that, I feel like we need this to be connected to this before we try anything crazy. Might also need less vertices here as well. That's 7. Going to be argued there's going to be 7 across the bottom as well. So let me actually just do that. You probably just want to get the hammer out of the way and then get the handle and just glue that to the thing later. So I'm just going to grab that and come across like that. That plugs in. The only issue with something like this is that I believe I need to extrude this up, right? Like there. And then do that. Because of how this ends up working, and then I can't just live with that. I have to keep doing that and then fill it in. Then I have to fix it later because obviously it's not going to be positioned correctly. Let's just cut this twice. Okay, then I need to... We can maybe just fix that in sculpting. Probably be easier to do that. Like that, and just smooth this out. I don't know why it's punching through. There. I'll do that. And this is kind of wonky, right? Having to cut into this like that. I think we ended up just doing the same thing again. Do I want to, like, you know, cut into this, into a curve. Going down, like that, then that. Like so. You end up with a lot of triangles, which is not very nice. But the sides need more faces than they have right now. And then you have that, right? And then you gotta figure out, okay, how many faces does this have? Also, this probably needs to be applied now. Apply that. So that I can just take this whole thing, and then I want to see like a circle. One, two, three. Okay, where are we starting? So it's here. That's 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I wasn't counting. I wasn't looking when I was counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is 24. So that's 24 things in total. So delete that cylinder, and then the vertices are down to 24. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. -90. And pull that into there. I'm probably just going to connect this, just raw like that. I'm going to join these two together and edit this and delete this face. Then all I have to do is pick the right thing, which is that. Fill that in, grab the F, and then just hold that all the way around. So that's connected, and then we can just fix that later. So it's going to be about there. Maybe we take this and scale you out a bit, which means we need to take the front as well. No, why did they do that? Scale you up to here, right? And then needs to be slightly further than that, because we need a point here, right? And then this. Whoops. This can be pushed forward a little bit. That's there. Let me just extrude this out a smidgen and scale that down like that. Take a cut and cut to about there. Then cut into that and scale that down to there. And then bevel that. Like so. And then we got to fix this here. So I'm going to take that for starters and scale on the X down to about where it should be. Maybe even same thing with you. I guess like all of this over here needs to be scaled until it's like decent. Like to there, and then scale X. Actually, no. It's just like there and scale X. Scale X like that. And then we can just go ahead and like try to start smoothing this maybe in sculpt. Turn X on. We just smooth this into that real quick. Also, the top of this needs to be pulled forward. Can smooth that. Need to pull this forward without like messing up the sides too much. This needs to be fixed like this. Here needs to be scaled in the Z to a 0. There we go. And then I think I would benefit from slicing this in half again now that we have the head attached. I don't want to keep doing that side. Control I to invert that. Though I guess I shouldn't invert, I should just do this. Destroy those vertices. Generate mirror. Of course this is going to be hollowed out, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna go sculpting real quick and then try to buffer that out. So it's not weird. I need to manually pull this down, but also trying not to touch that. There. I like that I goofed that up a bit. This needs to be scaled on the Y to 0. I guess this doesn't need to be flat, but I'm still going to try and see what I can do by grabbing this, then that maybe. I think I'm gonna have to do something like this. I have to make triangles. Like that, because then I need to come into here and grab all of that. I should be grabbing faces like this. Right, and then scale on the X to 0. Then like maybe we need to fix the curve here and there. Yeah, so now this should be flat and that's flat. I'm going to ahead of time just mark seam here. I might not use that as a seam, I just need it for the future to be able to just grab everything here. Because that whole side should be like that. And maybe I'm even going to see why I wanted to do that. I can click inside of it now, go Control L, and now grab everything there. Then scale on the X 0. So now that all is just flat side. And then we got to come into this bottom part, which I might be able to do by. Do I want to cut into that? Can I cut into that? I'm talking about this here. I can cut into that. Okay. Because this was like weirding me out right there. That being kind of trash. This looks weird, but that's fine. What happens if I like smooth this out? Does it fix the weird angles? Not really. I mean, yes and no. It creates other issues, you know, like this. So that stops there. But I want to keep going into a triangle there. This would have to cut into that, or this here. That wouldn't make sense to cut that into that, so I think we just ignore the fact that this looks weird. But yeah, now we need to go into edit. I also need to apply this, go back into edit. And what is it? Okay, it's hard to tell what I was looking at from this side. Here's the center. We need to take... I don't know how much room we need. It goes pretty far, so it is like to here. Maybe like to over here. I was like, is that too far? I don't think so. It's just like, is that too far? I think we can accept that. So you take that. And do I want to subdivide that, or is that good enough? I'm going to subdivide that. Turn that into a circle. Scale that on the X. Then scale that on the Y. I don't know why that looks so horrendous. Like, why did it do that? It shouldn't have goofed up so badly. Why, when I made it a circle, does it look like this? So if I make it flat, look, why is it like that? Smooth it out then? Yeah, it's like something to do with this. Okay, so let me undo all that. I'm going to extrude this down, actually, and then see what happens when I circle it here. Yeah, why is it doing that? Subdivide. Circle. Is there some sort of weird normal thing going on right now? I only think this happens if there's normals that are not correct. I see weird normals, but that's still not answering the question. I killed all the vertices there, so it ends up making a face that looks like that. I don't know why it does that. Circle. Is it like an angle? Best fit, fit inside, best fit, flatten, regular. The regular doesn't make it act all weird. Yeah, I have never seen it act this stupid before. It might be because I think it's my fault for not cutting a hole into it before doing this. It's just my bad. So subdivide, kill everything on the inside. And then like take an hour to grab the circle. I feel like normally I don't have to do that though. Like that's not really an issue. That looks fine. I feel like there's no excuse for it to be acting this way, and yet it is. Smoothing the vertices does that. Scale on the Z to 0. We can buffer this out later. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to stop caring. Though I kind of do need to care because when I scale it, when I extrude down, look at the placement of all the vertices. I don't know why it's doing that. I might have to pause and like try to figure out why it refuses to give me a circle. Okay, so I've kind of come to the conclusion that what I have to do is basically I've grabbed more vertices here. I'm going to scale this, I'm extrude this down. I'm going to scale it on the Z to 0 to flatten it out. Then I'm going to extrude it one more time downwards. Then with this, I'm going to turn that into a circle, and then we can just kill the faces off of that. And now we have a circle that isn't disgusting. And then maybe I can kill the vertices there. But we want to take this and scale it on the X though. Like that. But we like weirdly want the side of that to be smooth, but we can figure that out later. So about there, question mark. We can smooth this out later to make that match. And then we're gonna go ahead and just extrude that down to about as long as the heads, or not the head, as long as this is, so about there. Well, technically it's down here, and then you can just pull that. I shouldn't do that. Let me just get this in there ahead of time. And then, do I want to just like take this into the middle and then see what I can do by that? Like that. I mean, not really, right? You don't really want to do that. Like, you want to cut into this, sure, probably, but you don't want to do anything funny. You just want all that stuff to happen here, so you probably want a few extra sets of vertices there. A few extra there, maybe like 3 of them, just so you have something to work with when you get up to there. And then this down here needs to be scaled up a little bit. I cut there and scale it outwards. And then bevel, so that we have that rounding off. Then I probably want to take this and move this back up and then bevel that out like that. Then we can take that, probably extrude down like a smidgen. Extrude down just a little bit. I'm going to even mark that. Then extrude down to about there. And then like slowly increase size, maybe even like specifically on the X a little bit more. Clear seam on that. Then make this go pretty far down. Then again at the bottom and just scale that up. Of course, we need to shrink that. Eventually, I'll get to that at some point. I kind of actually want to, unfortunately, take that. It has to be little lines like this. Dissolve these edges. It rounds out, so here, then scale that out, and then bevel up to there, like that, but it cuts like here, right? I think this should definitely be scaled on the X a bit more. We need to remove that. And then, same thing, extrude this down a little bit, scale it out. Maybe not that much. Scale it on the Y down a little bit. Be nice if I could cut this in half again at some point so I can get holes into this grip so I don't have to draw them on. Then we need to cut into this and scaling it in and then beveling that back up like that, then pulling this down probably like that, move you down a little bit, fill that in, just insert face into that. I didn't need to do that. I'm going to bevel this edge. Might bevel this edge. Like that. I need to dissolve this edge here. Move this one up. And like in, maybe? Or just like set it there. I'm just trying to smooth that down into itself. That seems fine. I mean, I could always just do this. I don't think it's tall enough. It's probably fine though. Maybe just pull this out. Like I was saying this, I was going to eventually push this in. Maybe don't. Just here. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And then push that in. but it's not that long. Could even come over here and rotate with proportional editing turned on, and that allows you to bend at an angle like that. So you can give it more curve down, but then still keep that. So there we go. Okay, now we need to sculpt into this part here, so this isn't all janked out. We just smooth it. I mean, that's all that's what's going to be needed here, is just smoothing this. It'll eventually buffer out into itself. Like that, and I can fix the sides eventually. Like, I don't like how this bends forward like that, but maybe that's just like a unique look. Plus, I kind of like that pickaxe look. Ice pick, I mean. Look of having that kind of cocked forward. I can maybe just pull that up, I guess, to try to stop it from being weird. There we go. I think the handle's too big. I need to take these and dissolve them so that I can just move this. The metal up here seems too big now. I should have just kept it the way it was before. I think that's better, right? Then I can come back in here and just add the cuts. Not that it needs the cuts in there, but... Then I was thinking maybe get into like really get into that pickaxe look. Do we want to maybe do something like that or no? It might look a little bit wonky, I think. I think we can just stick with that. Scale Z0 just to straighten that out. And then again, this is why we have this. Like that's all. Select all of that. I guess all of that too. I need to cut this in half, otherwise this won't work, I think. So, come over here. Get as close to the center as I can get it. I need to do it the other way. Some of this isn't getting grabbed because I can't get close enough from that zoom. That's probably fine. Kill the vertices. Get in there to take a look. That looks good. Generate mirror, clipping. The middle isn't touching. And this lost a vertice. Where did that lose a vertice? If I delete the vertices here, why did it kill the thing on the bottom? That's weird. Oh, and that missed as well. Because we didn't get these on, we didn't get this here. And I didn't get these either. Is that fine? No, because this is not being gotten. How about that? Center isn't connecting, but that doesn't matter too much. Just need to make sure it's not doing anything weird. So that does go all the way around. So I'm taking both sides and then pulling them away from each other. We'll undo that. Clipping. Looks like it bugged out there. We have to do that again. So I went in and out because once clipping's on, if they touch, they'll glue together. And then they're glued together here in the back now too, so it should be fine. Yeah, it's all perfectly glued together now. Okay, now the reason we needed to do that was so that I could grab this, Control L, scale on the X to 0 to make sure that's flat. And then we need to Control L into this and insert face. Like that. I need to remove the seam on that. We need to like mark a seam here, 2 probably. Like I said, it's marking. This one I'm gonna have to do once they're all together. I don't really need to add the seam, I can just do this. And insert face into that. Clear that seam. Mark seam. Oh, accidentally click that, clear that. Is there anything else I need to do? That's the thing there, so that's all fine. Like maybe you want to put like a seam down the middle, but I don't know. I think it goes down the entire thing. Like undo that for now. I think we back out and apply that, then get back in so that I can grab everything that's inside this and insert a face into that. And then clear the seam there. I'm trying to like flatten these angles for the hammer part there. Then we need to go ahead and fill that in. We can insert face there. We can insert face here. Insert face to there. And shade smooth this. There we go. So now this is like flat surface, flat surface. And then everything else is smoothed out. I was like too worried about this being too thin that it actually is too thick. There we go. Looks better. Granted, I pulled this in, so I kind of like de-sharpened that, but what can you do? I think I will leave that there, but maybe we can leave it like that, like the cuts there. The front of this is acceptable, question mark. I still feel like almost like this might actually need the front of this to be even though slightly smaller. I do this scale on the X 0, scale X 0, and then come over here, Control L, scale X 0, 0, hello, scale X 0. Also, it's not on individual origins either. So actually undo that. Oh, it actually just mirrored it for me anyways, that's fine. Control L, Control X 0. Okay, cool. Just to fix it doing that. I guess we're fine, except for the fact that I should have not undone that mirroring, because now I can't do the holes in the grip. Without, like, having to be annoyed, you know, because I'd have to... It's not even either, but... I'd have to do this on both sides. What does that look like? That probably is going to look ugly, yeah, because the shape here isn't a perfect circle. Like, some of these are smaller than the others. Yeah, obviously what I want to do is... Whoa. That's not what I want to do. Is, well, I wanted to subdivide each one and then turn it into a circle so I could insert holes into the grip, but I think I'm going to be lazy. We already spent an hour on this. I think we're just going to finish up now. Though I do need to figure out how I'm going to cut this. The head here could maybe be sliced there. Actually, undo that. It can be sliced there and then, like, not really care about what it looks like. This part, maybe we want to cut down the middle. And just remove a bunch of it. Like this. Okay, that is connected. So yeah, that just goes all the way down the middle to there, and it's like mark seam. And I guess you can just mark seam on that. And then maybe that's an acceptable split. I mean, this isn't split, so maybe I have to do that up here too, even though I don't really want to. Because it's gonna make things weird, but... What can you do? And there we go. UV unwrap. What is this? Is that the hammer? That wouldn't make... Like, is that there? That wouldn't make sense. So the side piece in the top there. We have the handle there. And I'm guessing this is the metal part here. So it's cut in half here. That splits down. And it's cut in half there, but it doesn't really like being flayed like that, I think. That's why we have overlap. And also, like, these are weird as well. Like, this is that part there. Yeah, this is just like a weird... shape to try to cut into pieces. So I think I will just keep it like that for now, and we'll just see if it ends up being not good. Okay, so everything needs to be metal except for this part, which needs to be in the grip. Yeah, everything else needs to be metal. So we can control L that, and then assign you as well. Assign now, do I want to use a metal texture for the hammer metal? Because I don't really have metal other than the rusty metal, right? So Control Shift T to go find my texture. Wool, we got asphalt. Like we could just go for standard metal. Planks, wood floor, rusted stone wall, a rustic stone wall. Rusty metal sheet is what I would end up using. But again, like I don't necessarily want a rusty metal look, but we'll see. This is 4K. Which one's 4K? This is 2K. I think I have a... Well, that's 1K. Well, is this one 4? Why do I have like 3 of them? Okay, here's the 4K one. I have 1K, 2K, and 4K for rusty metal sheets. I think what we do is come into here and pull this back. And then we add a color, hue, saturation, brightness, and I need that saturation to chill out. And the roughness, I need to be my own custom roughness potentially. Metallic cranked up, obviously. You don't really want it to be like shiny like that. That's not what it looks like. It needs to be around here. Whoops. It's already, the normal map's already doing its job, but let's just add bump here. Plug you in like 0.05. I think I'm gonna get it really small. We don't need the roughness, so get rid of that. The placement of everything is fine by me, so I don't think I need to change any of that. It's just... Actually, do we want this to go saturation down further to that, or do we want it to be a little bit more color? So is the bump too much? The bump is actually too much. I think I just prefer it with just the normal. Yeah, I think it's like the first time ever that we're not going to add a bump mode. Yeah, I think that's fine. Like the little extra color, and a little extra color goes pretty okay on that. And now the grip is going to be custom. What color do I want it to be? Yellow? Black? The hammer that I'm looking at is blue. but this is not necessarily going to be used for, like a hammer would normally be used for, with what I'm going to be using it for. So I don't know what I want this color to be. Guess we can just like pick a color and see how we feel about that. You know, like the safety yellow is always okay. But that's also like in brands, like colors are equivalent to their brands. Like black is also an option, just to be edgy, because this is actually being used for edge. We're gonna texture Voronoi. Get the thing. UV, might want to do object instead though. Need the color ramp. That into a bump. Because we need to make this look like rubber. And to do that we need a lot of texture, a lot of dense texture. So, and this needs to be inverted to be bumps. And then like 500? 1,000? 1,000. 0.15 maybe? Then yeah, the roughness needs to be pretty low, so like 0.6. Might need to come in here real quick. Just go to like edit. Take everything here. Control L. Extrude. And scale. Scale up a little bit. I'm just going to like move that down on the Z. So I just want to like undo that. Keep scaling that up. Scale it on the X and Y. It should be just going outwards now. There we go. Then G and then Z to move it down on just the Z axis. Then we need to get in there and remove this seam, I think. Yeah, clear that seam. And for good measure, we can cut into that. We cut into this as well. Then go back to UV and unwrap again. So there's like that little lip there to give it a little bit more depth. I don't know if we just want like a giant lip instead or what. Like maybe we want it to be bigger than that. So we just come back over here, click that, Control L, but then like, oh, you know what? Probably got screwed up. Yeah, this, because it's outside of the ring. I'm just gonna delete this and delete the vertices actually. Delete the vertices because that was even further, and then we can fill that in. Actually, I'm just not gonna fill it in yet until we finish moving this. So Control L, then we need to remove that. That out. We need to remove this. There we go. Then we can scale that on the X and Z. Like that. I think that's okay. And then we go here and insert faces. You know what? No, I'm just going to cut because I don't want to have to deal with removing another, what you call it? Another stroke. You know what I'm talking about? Another marked seam. I don't want to have to remove a new seam. No, unwrap that. and then we go back to shading. There we go. So now this is like decently around that. So like, I don't really want to do anything weird because it's a, I mean, yeah, it's a hammer. Cool, but it's missing detail, in my opinion. At least on the grip. The grip needs more. It needs more soul, question mark. And that's mainly because we weren't able to get any things into the center here. I'm just going to remove these. And then cut even deeper. I want these to be thinner than that. 16, sure. So I guess maybe here and there. Like that. Then extrude scale X and Y. And then I'm going to move that in. Just a little bit. That probably isn't a good idea for a grip, but again, we're just trying to get some sort of nicer detail. And this isn't a professional who's going to be using this hammer anyways. Unwrap that. Why does that look like that now? I think I need to cut into this again. Yeah, it didn't take there. So I have to come over here, mark seam, but then take this and clear seam. Clear seam. And that should be good. We should be fine now. There we go. I don't see anything weird happening, except for that on the bottom. What is happening there on the bottom? Or is that the hammerhead? That was the hammerhead because it's getting cut in half now. I forgot to remove this too. I think that's fine. There, that's fixed. So now we have this silly grip. If you could even see that. Yeah, there we go. And now a little bit extra detail. That never killed anybody. It actually doesn't look too bad because of it's just set up properly. There's even, I saw that there's like some decent detailing on here somewhere, but I think it just keeps getting moved around. Let me see. Just like move this around until I see. Yeah, so there's some like good stuff on here. I think what I had done was fine. 0.2 might be a little bit too much. I don't know. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's a bit too chromed though. Maybe it looks like fake trash metal if it's too shiny. And like of course a grip looks like grip. What we could do is hammer grip W, double U, not like the letter W, but double U as in I'm doubling U. And then like come in here and select inside these notches, right? And then Control plus to just push that a little bit further. Assign it to the new one, right? And then just come to that classic construction yellow. Like that. That seems fine, right? Just for a basic hammer. What if I do that? Is that fine? You know what? I think a hammer would do that, right? They're trying to be cheeky to make it look fancy. I think they would do that with a hammer. Question mark. So yeah, I think that is our hammer. I think we are done. Question mark. Now it's just a matter of getting this into the frame here of the camera. I don't even know what angle I need to be looking at it at. Like maybe over here. I'm always over here. It probably wants, we need to be this way because of the light. For this one, and just have it turned in a way that makes sense. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little less, or less, maybe more in that direction. That good? Question mark. We don't know what that looks like yet, but maybe that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's a hammer. Question mark. It looks fine to me, right? So yeah, cuties. Thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers or think about becoming a member or subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're working on watch time and subscribers. And don't forget we have a throne now as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and Alexgkiller 880. I'm trying to get to the top of the hammer. That's not gonna work. I should just keep it where it's at. Or like the inverse. Like that maybe. So you can actually see that the hammer has the prongs on the back. Fine, there we go. Yeah, cuties. Thanks for watching. Tune to the next episode. Like, subscribe, hype, and comment. You know what to do. See ya.